and good evening, Parafam, and welcome to this special episode of the Para Unity podcast. I'm Whitney.
And I'm Brandon. Whitney, we are live again.
I know.
Live, baby, live, baby, live.
It's insane.
I know. And tonight we are hosting a panel of amazing women. I am so outnumbered tonight. It is ridiculous.
Remember, you did agree.
I did. And I couldn't have picked a better group. You did a great job narrowing it down and getting this action-packed, wild. I don't have enough adjectives to describe it. But all of these women are a force in the paranormal field. And even though we're a little past Women's History Month, this is our opportunity to acknowledge and celebrate the roles women play in the paranormal field.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. And I think we've got some amazing people to talk to. And who knows, maybe someday we'll get more future paranormal women. But I want to take us back to the past a little bit. When the spiritualist movement kicked off in the 1840s across the United States, it was mostly women that were its leaders and its advocates. Women such as the Fox sisters, Sojourner Truth, and Victoria Woodhull not only communicated with the spirit world, but also used those messages from beyond to fuel other important movements, such as women's suffrage, abolition and emancipation, and equal treatment for all, especially in the workforce.
Oh,
pretty
100%.
wild, huh?
It is. It doesn't surprise me. Women are running the world.
Good to know.
I'm just along for the ride.
Aww.
All right. Well, today we have very, very powerful women in the field continuing to inspire us. They are scientists, historians, mediums, inventors, podcasters, writers, and so much more. We see them on TV. We hear them on the podcast. We read their words in blogs and articles.
Yeah, I think we're taking advantage of what is such a multifaceted time for communication in all forms. And tonight,
100%.
Yeah, and tonight I'm so looking forward to this because I just want to hear how the paranormal field has changed even in the last 10 years when it comes to more women involved. And I just can't wait to get this started. So why don't we do that? Let's welcome our wonderful panel of women of the paranormal. So everybody join me in welcoming Miranda Young of Ghost Biker Explorations, Christie Sumner of Soul Sisters Paranormal, Cynthia Gerodias of Raven Rose Paranormal, Tina Fleury of Ghost Life and Thunderstruck Paranormal, Beth Allen of Wicked Woman Paranormal, and Chinelle Gwartney of Elite Vixens Paranormal. Guys, we're just so happy to have you here. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Hello.
They're here.
Now, I do want to start us off here before we get into this. Tina's having a lot of technical issues with her computer, with getting logged in. So she may be kind of in and out. And I know some people are here to see Tina and support her because she's had a wild ride here lately. So we're doing the best we can with her. So hang tight and we should have her. So
But in the meantime, we're all here.
We are all here.
This is fantastic. How's everyone doing tonight?
Great, thanks.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, believe me, it's our pleasure. Right, Brandon?
It is. It is.
Yeah, he looks so tired.
I have my big boy pants on. I'm ready for this.
I don't think we're going to get that much into it. But if we do, hang on to your shorts, everybody. All right. Well, ladies, I think maybe some of the best ways to get started. We've had you all on the show at some point in time. But for those folks who maybe don't know you as quite as well or haven't really listened to a lot of the episodes, why don't you guys all take a turn and tell us a little bit about your projects and what you've been working on? Why don't we go ahead and start with Cynthia? We'll start with you first.
My name is Cynthia Gerodias, and I am 1/3 of Raven Rose Paranormal. We are a paranormal team out of Storm Lake, Iowa, which is in northwest Iowa. We have a couple of different podcasts that we do on our Raven Rose page on Facebook. And one of them is our Freaky Squeaky Friday show that I host with Darren Buss of Midwest Ghost Seekers, and he'll shoot me if I get that wrong. So, and then I also do, I had been doing tarot readings every Tuesday or so, but with my work schedule going wonky on me, I've had to try and see if I can find a time to reschedule those. I am the psychic intuitive of our group, and we've been doing this as a group for about 5 years, and I've been doing this myself for around 8.
Very nice. Beth, what about you?
Oh, well, I'm an overachiever.
Aren't we all?
I try hard. I am part of, I have my own group, which is Wicked Woman Paranormal LLC. That is to support what you see on this screen. A lot of beautiful ladies, and I have all my sisters are in chat tonight. I'm part of the Black Wolf Paranormal, Wicked Wolf Pack, and Terminus Paranormal. I'm about to start up my shows again.
Great.
There's one person on here that has a lot to do with that. Miranda was one of my driving forces in the beginning, and because it almost didn't happen. If it hadn't have been for her, I would have never done a podcast. So I'm always thankful for her. Got a lot coming up. We've got a documentary that we did not know that was going to drop, dropping on the 8th. Dave Spink's Willow's Weep documentary. So Black Wolf we're all really proud of that. I'm doing a lot within the mediumship and healing realm now. Our sweet little Samantha, which is basically my bouncer, is in chat tonight. Chinelle's wifey. So got to make sure I say hey to her. But I'm looking forward. We got a lot going on, and this is all family on this screen, and I can't wait to see what this year holds.
You know what the best part about Beth is she's literally the paranormal version of like the circles of Kevin Bacon. Like everybody connects to Beth.
I love everybody, and I did forget one thing. There are some people that are here tonight. They don't actually know I'm Beth Allen, but I'm also known as the Parathug. I can't live that down. Chinelle made sure Brandon Alvis knew that real quick.
The Parathug. Okay, there's a story here. I want to hear this story. We'll get back to that. In the meantime,
we'll do that
Chinelle,
later.
Let's put Chinelle on the spot. What have you been up to, Chinelle?
Well, so I'm the co-founder of Elite Vixen Paranormal based out of Nashville, Tennessee. Like Beth Allen said, Samantha, she's my partner in crime. She's my wifey. We started Elite Vixen, like 3, almost going on 4 years ago now. So we're an all-female team. And so I don't have all these other projects like everybody else has.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, so I like during the day, I save lives one child at a time. And then at night,
Perfect. All right, Miranda. Oh boy, I know you and Kris also have a special project going on together.
We do. So I'm Miranda, and I'm known as the Ghost Biker, and I travel around the country on my motorcycle to different haunted and historic locations, and I highlight them on my web series, Ghost Biker Explorations. We're rolling into our 5th season now, but I was a member of a team prior to this, so I've been investigating for about 15 years now, almost, just under. And earlier in 2021, I ended up getting together with my best friend, and we formed a business, History, Highways, and Haunts, and we opened a true crime museum in the historic Scott County Jail, which is in my hometown of Scott County in Huntsville. And we opened that, and it's also a paranormal research center. And so I'm going to let her share a little more on that. But we're keeping busy doing that. That's now my full-time job. So trying to balance that with the series. And then I also do a weekly live stream known as Shop Talk Live from the Ghost Biker Garage, where we have different authors, artists, different people who are doing things in the paranormal.
Awesome. Kris, all right, Kris, fill it in.
All right. Well, my name is Dr. Christie Sumner, and I'm the founder of Soul Sisters Paranormal. It's an all-female group, and we've been investigating for over 10 years, almost 10 years now. And as Miranda said, she and I are co-owners of the historic Scott County Jail in Huntsville, Tennessee. And it's also an interesting paranormal research location. We've got several things that we're doing right now that is a little bit different than anything we've seen in the paranormal world, because we're really into more of quantitative and qualitative research within the paranormal field. So that's really what we want to use the historic Scott County Jail for. So it's a museum during the day, a paranormal research location during the night. And then what I'm also involved in is I did a qualitative study on paranormal research, or paranormal and historic preservation. So I'll be speaking in West Virginia on that this coming weekend, and doing a few other things with that research project. So I'm really excited about that.
Kris, you're a lady after my own heart. You really are.
I know. It's like if I could pick somebody to be, it's Kris.
Oh, well, thanks. But I already have a twin. So sorry.
Yay.
Oh, okay.
And finally, last but by no means least, we've got Tina on the show, Tina Fleury. Tina, are you able to hear and talk with us?
Yeah, you're coming in.
Okay.
The country, we're getting heavy rain. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Probably.
My name
probably
is Tina. Yeah, my name is Tina from Ghost Life Paranormal, and my partners are Dan and Gina from Thunderstruck. We're a big family, and we travel all around to different locations. And I lost my partner this year, but we're going to continue moving on as Ghost Life Paranormal, and we're fixing to head out to Tennessee to go to our favorite locations.
That's awesome.
That is really awesome.
Make sure you throw Gina up as a shield, like always. Remember?
Yes. Use Gina.
Well, the first place we're going is Brushy. We're personal friends with the girl who runs the tours there, and she would love to have us come back to Brushy, and we're going to do an investigation, kind of like celebration of his life. So it's going to be fun.
Perfect.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
good.
it's going to be different without him, but he's still going to be there. And
Yes, he
we're not
is.
gonna stop.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're getting lots of greetings on the chat. Eric Harrison has said hi to everybody. I see Gina Black right there on the chat right now. Hey, Gina, good to see you. Oh man.
Hi. I don't know who it was. I just heard, "Hey, Tina." I don't know who said it because you're cutting in and out.
It's okay. Yeah.
We'll make it work.
We'll make it work, and it'll be fine.
So I do want to say a quick shout out to the people that are watching. If you guys have questions, put them up in the chat, and we'll make sure to try and fit them in here, okay? Because there's a lot of great minds sitting in this room, and I'm not including myself in this.
Yeah,
so
neither am I.
If you have the questions, make sure
guys.
you're asking, because you're not going to get a better group than this all together all at once. Unless you're hanging out with like Beth and Chrissy. So I guess a quick question to start you all off, since we kind of got a little bit of bio on you. I mean, you women have overcame a lot to get to where you are now. Not even so much just in regular life, but definitely in the paranormal, because it's always been a very male-driven, I don't want to say society, but society, we'll go with that. What or who inspired you the most to get where you are? And I'll leave that open to whoever wants to start.
Yeah, feel free, guys.
I'll start. I'm going to shout out my partner, Samantha, because
Samantha!
honestly, we wouldn't be the Vixens without her. She, I'm sure a lot of you have heard before, but like she and I, we used to be on a, male-female team, and like we faced a lot of adversity, she and I did. And she was like, bro, let's start our own team after a really horrid investigation. And that's it. So really, I have to shout her out, because wouldn't be the Vixens without her.
Let's hear it for Samantha then. Good job.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's
Oh,
awesome.
she said, "Duh."
I'd say
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Cynthia.
Oh, I was gonna say for me, I guess a lot of it was growing up kind of idolizing Lorraine Warren.
Oh yeah.
And watching her and how she did things and just researching some of the cases that she did. And then also for myself, Kelly McCarville was one of my mentors, and I actually had the honor of meeting her for the first time at a small Paracon, and she's just amazing, and I think she's a really awesome person, and so that's kind of what got me started in it.
Wonderful. Go ahead, Kris.
For me, there wasn't really one person that inspired me, but it was really after I got involved in the paranormal. I started watching Miranda. I started watching Beth. I got to know Leanne Eskew and Denise Pack, and really just following all of these really strong women. I think it's the entire process, right? It's not just one person that inspired me to do it. It's a lot of people that are inspiring me to keep doing it. And I think that's where I'm at right now. And it's really just kind of following all of them, getting advice from all of them. I know that any one of these ladies I can reach out to and say, hey, what about this? Have you gone here? What are your thoughts on this? And then also conversely, I get that encouragement from them as well. So while I didn't really have a mentor or anybody that I really followed starting into this, because it really just was something that was sprung on us. I think it's the progression of those ladies now that are really what is the driving force behind what I do.
Sure. I'm going to cry now.
I know. Aw, all right.
I think that would be, I'm going to cry.
It's
I'll go ahead and go. I would have to say for me, and I say this a lot on a lot of my podcasts, it was probably my grandmother. She was born in 1908, and she was born in 1908. My actual grandfather was born in 1889, and so they grew up in the Appalachian Mountains. And she was big into storytelling. She was also big into folklore and legends. And so I grew up right next door to my grandmother, and so I spent pretty much every evening down there at her house, listening to her tell stories about mountain haints and growing up in the Appalachians, and really just instilling a lot of the importance of the ghosts of the past and also the history, and, really, just kind of trying to take all of that in. And that's really kind of how I modeled Ghost Biker explorations and the way I do things after her. I just wish, that she passed away when I was 25. And so 23. I wish that, I had really been able to appreciate just everything she shared, because she really shared a lot of wisdom during those years and really inspired me to do what I'm doing today.
That's amazing.
So one thing I do want to throw out here is what Samantha said. It's hashtag Parathugs cry too.
Okay. I
I
want to know what the story is behind Parathug. Please.
Well, let me do the other first. Let me get the other out of the way first.
And then we got to hear
this. Of course, I've been doing paranormal investigations since I was a teenager. I started having experiences when I was about 17, 18 months old, but I never really jumped. I was always solo. I never really jumped into the paranormal team thing. And then in walks, I started volunteering at a location, and I ended up with this incredible family that I get this sister, Leanne Eskew, and it was amazing. And it just kind of started from there. And she and Todd always encouraged me, because I kept saying, I want to do something for women in the paranormal. I think we need a voice. Next thing you know, in walks Chinelle and Sam, and an all-female group. And I'm like, word, this is awesome. Then it progressed a little bit more, and I meet Miranda and Kris. And it just, then I end up with Denise Pack. I end up with Eileen. I end up with all these sisters, and I didn't even like women for the longest time. I don't even know how it happens, but apparently I created a girl gang, and I have so much respect, and I've learned so much because you never stop learning.
No.
I don't care who you are, and anybody that wants to argue with the parathug in the field can come at me. Christie Sumner, I could listen to her talk for the rest of my life every night, all night long.
Thanks, Beth.
No one is better spoken than her. Miranda,
Thank you, Beth.
she made us all want to do better. Like, there's so many of us, and I feel the same way Kris does. So many women have come into my life, and I have the utmost respect for, and I don't want to forget some very important people. Night Stalkers, Barry Gaunt, Billy Sims, Tanya Sims, Casey Scruggs, Melvin, all of them. They've all supported us no matter what. And they're great people to look up to. So I'm thankful for each and every one of them. Denise and Leanne and I, we do a lot of crazy stuff. Poor Todd and Ernie. They know how you feel, Brandon. I'm just saying. But that I feel the same way Kris does. I mean, we've all kind of come into each other's lives and supported one another, and made it a better place.
Mhm.
But as far as the parathug goes, I may or may not have body slammed a couple of people on investigations. It was for their own safety and the safety of others. But
Okay.
no, I'm from Atlanta. I'm a little different than most of the paranormal community. I don't pull any punches. I'm going to call it how it is. And if you can't handle the truth, you don't want to talk to me. Just saying.
Love it.
And yet she keeps ending up on the show.
Yeah, she's here. She's here.
I don't even know why y'all want me here. I don't know
Because
nothing.
I love you. Brandon does whatever I say. If you want to know who's really in charge here.
That's like Leanne's in here.
Oh,
I was the witness to the body slams.
Brandon, I love you. You're like a bro to me. Tina, what about you? Who's someone that has really inspired you in the paranormal?
When I first started out, honestly, it was pretty much me and my husband. I had experience when I was a patient at the hospital, and I eventually started working at that hospital, and it really, at first it's like, I just had a baby. My mind just going 100 miles a minute. I could not see what I saw in the doorway. It was a little boy just standing in the doorway. And so when I started working at the hospital, I found the history about what this little boy, he was actually a patient who had died. And then that's when I met my husband, and we started talking about the paranormal, about what was going on in there and stuff. So I would say my husband. I know it's not a female that inspired me, but I'd say my husband right off the bat is the one who inspired me into the paranormal. And then I met Gina Black. She's like my sister. She's my family. We learn from her every day, and she learns from me every day when we go out. And we meet awesome people going to different locations, and we learn from everybody. I mean, I can't really pinpoint one person that inspired me, because there's just so many people that we have met that's like, oh, wow, they're awesome. I like how they do that thing and how they do it that way. It's amazing just to meet different people and how they do things. And sometimes you like how they do it, sometimes you don't. You just pick up on what you feel comfortable with. I really can't pinpoint just one person, because everybody I have met in the paranormal field is awesome. I learn from them.
Well said.
So
That's
it's kind of
awesome.
hard to pick.
We do have a question that's popped up on the chat. We've got a couple. One of the first that I've seen is Eric Harrison. This question is for Miranda. He wants to know, what steel horse do you ride?
So my current one is a Harley Davidson 883 iron. And so it's a Sportster, all blacked out. It's actually kind of a throwback to a 69 bobber. So that's what I currently ride. My first one was a Vulcan 750.
Nice.
I love Harleys. Oh, I love Harleys. I miss my Harley.
Hondas are better. Hondas are better.
Oh, shut your mouth.
Honda Davidsons. Honda Davidsons. That's
You
all
know
I can
that,
say.
that level that I had you at, Christy, is kind of starting to fall.
Oh, stop it.
All right. So another question we had, Darren asked in, he goes, what's the weirdest case you've been a part of, and does it still get you scratching your head?
Go, Darren.
And that was just to anybody.
Gotta love Darren and his questions.
Oh, he's at least got 2 on here. Watch out.
Oh, just wait. I warn you ladies now, the man has at least 100 questions written out, literally.
Written out. Oh, wow.
That's
Yeah,
good.
oh yeah. That's my co-host.
Oh, so do I need to like limit his questioning?
No, he'll keep it to a minimum.
He's better planned than we are.
Yep.
All right. The head scratching cases, guys.
Oh boy.
I think for Soul Sisters, one of the most interesting ones that we've been able to be a part of is the Ma Barker house in Central Florida. And we were the first team to investigate this house. So we really didn't have, any other type of feedback from other teams as to what was supposed to go on there. There were people in the neighborhood that suspected that it was haunted. They said that they heard noises when the house was vacant and seen shadow figures when the house was vacant. So we didn't really know what to expect, but I had my suspicions that the spirits of Ma and Fred Barker were still in that location. So to be able to investigate that house and be the first team to do it was to us pretty thrilling. And we got some surprising results. We had a lot of residual hauntings as well as intelligent hauntings in that location. So for us, that was probably one of the most interesting / surprising.
Yeah, I loved seeing her and Miranda investigate. That was one of my favorite videos I've watched.
I hadn't seen that one yet.
You what?
Yeah,
You haven't seen that?
that
I
was
haven't
cool,
seen it
and
yet.
you definitely need to check it out because Christy, being the first in there, she and again, this house, if you've not seen it, I mean, it's its own trigger item because it's completely out in the middle of nowhere. There's no power to it. There's no light contamination. I mean, it is literally out in the middle of Florida wilderness. And so Christy being the first team, I was actually the second to investigate there. And we were able to validate on the second time, a lot of the stuff that she got the first. And so it's just a cool place to try a bunch of different experiments because you don't have all the atmospheric contamination that comes in. Plus, it's such a kick-ass story. And, just the history around it is amazing.
Neat. Who else has got a real head scratcher of a case?
Well, since the people that are in chat went with me, Willow's Weep was one of those. We talked about it as a team a little bit after we left, but it wasn't until Miranda aired her stuff that I actually reached out to Miranda. I couldn't even really talk about it because I came out of there with a whole lot more questions than I had going in. And it's one of those, it's up for interpretation. But after you see people come in, oh, we're just perfect. And then they come out and they look like they're 50 years older than they were. Yeah, no, that place was not for the faint of heart. I promise you that.
And I got some weird stuff about that place.
Yeah. And, I got to echo Beth's sentiment on that. I would have to say that Willow's Weep, Revenant Acres, those two locations right there, both in Indiana. I think Indiana has the weirdest, strangest hauntings that I think I've ever experienced. And anything that I've ever documented on mine, anything in like Western Ohio, Indiana has always just been so strange because there's not a lot of history that kind of goes into these locations. So you're kind of going in blind. Some of them are extremely dark. Some of them are just extremely strange. And so, Willow's Weep, definitely. And just to kind of tag onto that, I would have to say that those are probably, I don't know if I'm gone. Everyone was buffering.
You're still here. You're good.
Everybody
I'm
disappeared
constantly
but Beth.
buffering.
But I would have to say for me that probably the weirdest and most interesting would be those two places, Revenant Acres and Willow's Weep, just because of the strange history that, or lack of strange history that surrounds both of those locations.
All right. Well, I got an awesome question in the chat, and it's an awesome question. The person that's asking it's just as awesome. She's actually a member from my team here in Iowa. It's Allie.
Hi, Allie.
But she says, "Wahoo, paranormal ladies! What do you think women specifically bring to the field and to investigations that the para dudes just can't?"
That's a great question. I'd like to know that myself.
A level head. Seriously, a level head. Because I'm sorry, I love my team to death. My team, the rest of my team is all guys. And my team did include my husband, as I am in the same boat as Tina. I lost my husband June of 2020 to an exacerbated asthma attack, and we don't know why. But guys, to me, and no offense to you, Brandon, but guys seem to get more impatient and fly off the handle a lot quicker. And they take it to more of an extreme before thinking about what the repercussions could be. So I think women tend to take them down a few notches and go, okay, let's think about this first and figure out how we should go about doing this before we just go off half-cocked. So
Yeah, I think
that's my opinion.
And I agree with that. I mean, the way I kind of explain it is, I think women bring a different sense of empathy. We may not be empaths, all empaths per se, but we bring an empathy to the field that men really don't, for the most part. Most of us don't go in with bravado. We don't go in with egos. Not that I'm saying men do as well, but I think we kind of have a different sense about a location rather than just going in and saying, okay, let's just find some ghosts. I think women kind of bring a different level of trying to understand both the historical perspective as well as the paranormal perspective. And I think that's what's so great about women in this community.
If I can also add, I think that women, the fact that we can have babies and we can carry life within us, that really makes a difference in the paranormal field, because first off, especially children's spirits, they can pick up on that. And
I agree
so
with
I
you on
think
that.
So that's my thing.
Yeah.
I do tours of a hospital, then they know me by, I'm not from Florida, I'm from Indiana. But when I first went to this hospital, they called me by my maiden name and everything. And it was a little girl, and she knew who I was. I mean, I'm not from here. And it's Fleury acts all females. So you get a male in there around where she hangs out at, and you won't get nothing. The male literally has to leave, and then she'll start playing with the toys, and you'll start getting EVPs over. You'll start hearing babies crying. But if a male's in there, she won't come out. It has to be a female, and I think it's because it was a female hospital, and they don't like males there.
Well,
that's my opinion.
Yeah, you have to look at context.
I'm gonna throw in a little bit here. I'm not gonna disagree with any of it, other than I think a lot of times the guys, some of the guys, they tend to base their experiences or their input or what they're putting into it based off of what they've seen previously. Mm-hmm. So when they're watching the shows of these dudes on TV going in like, we're all these big tough guys and, and that's how we have to be. That's what they think they need to be. So you get other people that don't do that get good responses. Like, you talk about children spirits usually tend to cling to a motherly figure. 100% agree. But they also cling to a fatherly figure too. Yeah. If that's what they were looking for. I mean, But I'm not disagreeing with anybody. I need to toot a horn here a little bit too.
I've also found for myself is I've actually dealt with some locations where there are folks that have been there based on mental illness. And I have found that some of those spirits do tend to gravitate towards some of the female investigators, especially if the female investigators have had a background in nursing or something of that nature. So I have noticed that as well. But again, respect is key, as one of our chat people have just said. And, you know, we also have to be careful to look at the other end of the spectrum. Has there ever been any time, ladies, when you've been on an investigation and you feel like you've been singled out because you're a woman? Have any of you guys ever felt that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like
definitely.
hair pulled and stuff like that.
We did Missouri State Pen,
Mm.
and myself and another couple gals were sitting down in death row, and just the feeling, you got this sense like you were the sideshow, you know, because 90% of the population of that penitentiary was male, and the women were housed somewhere else. And it was still a segregated as to gender death row cells. So, you know, they didn't have the interaction with the females when they were alive. So yeah, there was a bunch of times where we were standing there and we were doing an ITC session, and a lot of the words that were coming out were, you know, are we friends? Do you like us? You know, and to me, those are loaded questions when you're in a place like that. So, it's different when you're doing a penitentiary as opposed to a hotel, you know. So
Yeah,
Is it soapbox time?
go for
Go
it.
for it, Beth.
Okay. So kind of along the lines with the question. Women are often showcased as only mediumship or trigger objects or the person that owns the house, the victim, whatever. There are a lot of very strong female investigators in the field.
Yes.
Let's just be honest. It's a man's world. Well, no, it's not, because women, we tend to have to stick together, because if we don't get what we deserve. And that's got to stop. That's a huge problem within the paranormal community. We can stand on our own. We're strong and we're good at what we do. We have to support one another. We go into things differently. We're not just going in looking at, oh, let's see what's evil here. Most women don't provoke either. And provoking is bad, just for my para children that are in chat.
Yeah.
It's you don't have to do that. We handle things a bit different. Then let's get with the, you know, physical side of things. Women, we have more water in our body than men do. We conduct more things. We're more accepting of things. We tend to be the ones fighting for our rights. So we're more apt to, if there's a victim at a location that has been raped or kidnapped, murdered, I mean, anything female, they're gonna come to us first. Not knocking men. I got the greatest brothers on the planet. I promise you that. I've got some of the most supportive males in my corner you could ever ask for. I can't say that for everyone else. And I wish all the women in the field could experience what I experienced, because there's no better support. We're equal no matter what. And that's got to stop.
Yeah, and that actually brings up some interesting points about, because I think when I was talking with you ladies as we were setting this up, I noticed that you mostly wanted to talk about community and the importance of community. And I think we can all agree that especially over the last 2-3 years, community is now more important than ever. So how do you see the paranormal community evolving or devolving, as the case could be sometimes?
Now, for me personally, I think it's evolving in a positive manner. There's never been a time where myself or Soul Sisters has felt, singled out at all for being an all-female team. I think the way we approach it with a very no-nonsense. This is a very scientific approach, investigation. I think that has garnered us a level of respect. And I think that's how all the women on this panel are, right? I think we go in, people have mentioned it in the comments, we are strong women. And I think that we're not going to let any type of negative stereotype stop us from going forward. So for me, the paranormal community has been extremely inclusive of soul sisters, and it's going out and making those networks and making those connections. And you gravitate toward those people who are like-minded, like us on the panel, those in the chat room. I think we're all history driven. I think we're all truth driven, and I think we're all paranormal driven. And you combine those three things and it makes for a great combination. So the community that I know of, as far as the paranormal community, has been a great accepting community.
Yeah, and I have to totally agree with that. I mean, I've been really blessed throughout my time doing this. When I was a member of a team, I was the only female on the team. And then later there became another female on the team about the time that I was leaving. But I've never felt singled out, discriminated against, or treated any different. And I mean, I guess I tend to be a little bit more involved in a lot of male dominated things when it comes to, motorcycles, guns, all that kind of stuff. But, I've never felt that. And, everyone has always been very accepting and very inclusive, and, and vice versa. But I have to echo what Dr. Sumner says, that it does come from a respect sort of level where it's like, yes, TV does tend to sort of portray a female in a not so lead type role. They're either always the medium or they are never the lead figure. But you know what? Go out and make your own show. Don't fall to TV's demographic or TV structure. Do your own thing and really just push forward and just set that example of, if we're doing our own thing and not so much focusing on the negativity and all the other stuff, then we'll be successful. And I think that we'll pioneer in that way as a female. If you just, like Chinelle said, with, she had sort of an experience that made them create their own team. That's what you just got to do, just go do your own thing, and good things will follow from it. People will see, and that they'll respect you for it.
And one of the things I think, sorry to interrupt you, I will let you go in just a second. One of the things that I think people should know that are listening to this, that are having those ideas like you guys are all talking about, is if you want to do your thing, there's 8 people on the screen right now that you can reach out to at any time on socials, on their websites, through email, however you get a hold of them, that you can ask questions to, because I guarantee every single person on this show will help move people forward.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Cynthia.
I was just going to pipe in a little bit too. I got lucky because my team, like I said, I'm the only female on my team, but my team, the guys that are on my team are family. They are my brothers. They are so respectful to everyone that's around. Our team always tries to pride itself on not trying to get into the paradrama and just kind of staying neutral and staying, doing our own thing and helping new teams out and things like that. And, so like Christie said, and I've never felt singled out.
That's good. And actually, that kind of falls into some of the questions that there's a individual, Ryan Frere King, asked what advice you got for the young bloods in their late teens and early 20s.
Yeah,
I'm
somebody
gonna
get
say-
that, because that's my para kid, and I tell him all the time. So y'all go for it.
There you go, Ryan. You heard it there from Para Mama. All right, Chinelle, you seemed like you had something to contribute?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, when you get into this field, definitely go in and know what you're going in for, because everybody's in this field for a different reason.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely make sure that always stay safe. Protect yourself everywhere that you go, because this field can be really dangerous. I'm sure that multiple of us have been attacked. I was attacked. I know that. I know Miss Beth has been attacked. So definitely make sure that you're safe and know why you're in it, and do your thing and have fun.
Yeah, that's very important.
And don't copy the TV shows.
No.
Oh, God.
She brought it up. This
did.
is why this show is so important. This is why everybody on this screen that does a show is so important, because we're not on TV. We're not on TV. We are showing the real.
Yes.
And that's what's important. That's why I love each and every one of you for what you do, because people are so driven by TV shows and they don't even realize that's not what happens.
Anytime we do expos, when we have a booth or something at an expo and somebody comes up and, oh, I've been watching this show for years, spiky haired dude. Yeah. No. I will sit there and argue with them for hours. This is not how this goes. This is never how this goes. 90% of the time we sit there and stare at the wall and talk to the walls for 8 hours. And we're lucky if we get something in those 8 hours.
I think people need to take the time to try to debunk things, because not everything is paranormal.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And a lot of times they don't do that. They hear a noise, it's automatically, oh, there's somebody walking, or there's a ghost in that room. Take the time. Take the time to just listen to your surroundings and try to debunk things. And if you can't debunk things, then that's when you can say, yeah, there's something over there, and it's not normal, a human being. I've been like I said, I do tours at the hospital, and I watch groups, and they don't take the time to debunk things. And I constantly remind them, hey guys, this is an old hospital. You're hearing your partners walk upstairs or whatever. It's like, just take the time to debunk things, because not everything is paranormal.
And not everything's a demon.
Paranormal is exciting.
Not everything is a demon.
Yeah. Also, one of my friends who runs a paranormal group that I sometimes help out with, he actually said, by the way, guys, please tag yourself on your audio, especially when you have a bodily function going on, because otherwise we will think that tummy growl is something else.
No, you're 100% correct though, Whitney, because and I'm going to throw this out, and if Allie's still on here, she's going to know exactly what I'm talking about instantaneously, or what I'm going to say before I say it. But one of our lead directors for my team, when his stomach growls on audio, it literally sounds like a little girl demon screaming into the microphone. It just, it's so funny. Wow. Best advice for new people: put the equipment down, shut up, and listen.
Exactly.
That's the best thing to do.
Exactly.
Don't whisper. If you're going to talk, just talk. Don't whisper.
See, I told you Allie knew what I was talking
about.
And I think there also has to be a level of respect for the location, respect for the spirits. And I think you need to understand, if you're going to go into the field, what category of the field you're going into. I mean, for me personally, I think everybody on this team and most of the people on this panel would agree that we're paranormal investigators. We go in, we look for things, we try to debunk things if we can, but we're there for the historical narrative, and we're there for the experience of having that paranormal connection. We want to have that spiritual connection with the paranormal. But then you also have those people that I would categorize as more ghost hunters, that just want to go in and have like an experience or two, but they're not really there to do anything beyond that. And then the third one is really those that categorize themselves as more TikTokers or YouTubers that are in it just to get follows and just to get likes. So if that's the reason why you're going into it, you've got to differentiate yourself as being part of that category and not more of a paranormal investigator, because those of us who are in it for paranormal investigations, we're in it for the legitimacy and advancing this community as a whole, not just going out there for likes or subscribes.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You should be spending more time reviewing audio than you are practicing your autograph.
Yeah.
And believe me, you have not truly lived as a paranormal investigator until you've sat down and reviewed audio.
Yeah.
You have
Your
not.
static camera.
I don't know. DVR might be worse. Just sitting there watching the DVR.
Not with these
Hours
old
and
eyes.
hours.
Sorry.
And be open to learning from other
Watching
people.
the dust.
Absolutely, Beth.
Absolutely.
That's another
Be
thing with newbies. They think that just they can wake up one morning and they know everything. No, be open to learning different techniques from other people. We never stop learning. No one in the field is an expert.
Mhm.
No one. And I say that on the mediumship level too, because I see a lot of that out there. No one's 100%. You have to make a decision. Either you go into this because you want to help people and you want to help the other side. This is not a field you need to be in if it's about ego, fame, money. You got to
Exactly.
either do it because you love it or just don't do it.
Exactly.
You know what I just realized sitting here?
Hmm.
Between the 8 of us on here, there's close to, if not over 75 years of paranormal investigation experience on the screen.
Mhm.
Wow.
Hey, I'm pushing 75. Does that count?
Oh, stop it. Oh my gosh.
I feel 75.
Way to bring us down off that level there, Cynthia.
That was amazing. Okay, so let's think about what is one question, because we've all at some point have done the conventions, we've talked to people, we've been moderators at conventions. What is one question that you wish somebody would ask you?
That somebody would ask?
That somebody that you wish, I wish that somebody would ask me this.
Ooh.
Great job, Wendy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think, because we've been asked so many questions.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and because I've done a lot of podcasts and radio interviews and such, I think a lot of people fail to ask how it makes us feel, or what is our personal journey through this. I mean, most of the podcasts or radio shows that I'm on, the interviewer first asks, what was your most scary experience? How many demons have you seen? Have you ever been touched or run out of a location? I mean, those are really the 5 questions that I can guarantee will be on every podcast. But not a lot of people ask, what do you get out of this? What do you feel out of this? And I think obviously the answer is going to be different for everybody, but I think asking about that type of a personal journey and how this is benefiting us as an individual, I think that's a question that people fail to ask.
That is an interesting question. There you go, Christy. So what is it for you guys? What keeps you going in this field?
Seeking truth. I mean, seeking stories, seeking what's beyond what everybody can see, for me, and I don't speak for everyone, but for myself, I do it because I want to know what's out there. And I am really hoping that one day my husband will be on the other end of that EVP recorder going, hey, I have the answers to everything. And I'm sure Tina can agree to that one.
Yes, my husband's already here at my house. So I know it sounds crazy, but he's more or less playing with my grandkids.
Oh,
He
no,
goes
it's
in the
not
room.
crazy.
He'll knock stuff off of her dresser and stuff. And I told him don't get scared because they get kind of scared. That don't be scared. He just letting you know that he's there. Yeah, he knocked off my granddaughter's candle off the wall and stuff. It's like he's letting you know he's there. That's all he's doing. He's not trying to scare you or nothing.
But you know,
I mean, they're there, and that's what fascinates me about the paranormal. They're there, and it's like, how do they? I would love to know. Can they go from like one location to another? Like, what's their speed of time? Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
it's like, can you visit one place at another time? It just fascinates me.
Tina, I think you are in an amazing position because, I mean, I didn't know Dana very long. Absolutely love that guy. Absolutely loved him from the second I met him.
He was great.
Yeah,
what a great time we all had.
If there's anybody that passes on that is going to leak every secret of the paranormal, it will be Dana.
Well, now that you mention it, my brother, we go to Indiana a lot. We go to Randolph County every year. And my brother has a security system set up around his house. And my mom, she's 91 years old, would sit on the front porch, and Dana would sit out with her. He had a certain chair in a corner, and she sat in the other chair. And my brother, he sent me the video. I'll share it to you when we get off here. There was no wind blowing, and he looked up at the camera, and the chair that Dana normally sits in, and just got pulled out and was sit right in the middle of the patio. And meanwhile, when that was going off, stuff was going on with my daughter in Alabama. So it's like, can he possibly can a spirit possibly be at two places at one time, or can he just travel that fast? It's weird. It's different.
That would be fascinating to find out. That's great.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
And maybe one day, like Cynthia's husband or my husband would tell us, hey, we can. Time does.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
But I know exactly what she means.
Be nice to find out.
Yay! I agree.
I will say quickly on that same topic, I actually had a personal experience with my grandmother about 3 hours after she passed. And it's kind of a long drawn out story, but my sister and I, after she passed in hospice, there's a series of events that led me to believe that she was going to go back to the house that she shared with my grandfather. And about 3 hours after she passed, we went to that house and had a very interesting K2 session with what I believe was my Nana and my granddaddy who passed in 1986. So I think that the spirits, to answer your question, I do think that they can move to different places. And I think that it's pretty much instantaneous.
And this is off the topic, but a week before my husband had died, he was in bed, just yelling and screaming, like, get off, leave me alone. I woke him up. And I asked him, are you okay? He goes, something was trying to drag me. It was telling me it's time for me to go home. And, I worked in the hospital before I went to corrections. And usually patients say they see the angel of death. And he said whatever it was like hovering over him. And it was trying to drag, pull him out of bed. And it was telling him it's time to go home. And of course, he was frightened. He kept saying, I'm not ready. And then a week later, he passed away.
Wow.
So, yeah, I have no clue with mine because mine was pretty much once he had the asthma attack, they had to do CPR on him 3 different times. And the brain injury was so bad, he just never woke up from it. And so, but the thing that kind of weirds me out is after he passed, I found out about an life insurance policy that he had that I never knew he had. Just little things that he did that kind of makes me think, I think he knew.
Yeah.
I think he knew something was coming. And it makes me wonder, did he have someone there, giving him these signs?
I'm going to piggyback on that, Cynthia. So a lot of people don't know this about me, but a few years back, I had a stroke. And literally before that happened, I had this person that kept appearing in my dreams. Kind of looked like me a little bit, but not quite. I actually reached out to my mom and asked her, it's like, did I have a twin that died like at birth or something? Because it like there was something all too familiar about them, but still like not quite right. And it kept appearing in my dreams. But as it got closer to the day I actually had this major event, I started seeing it in like in person, in real life, like just kind of out of reach, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like over by a tree or kind of in a crowd, and when you try to move towards it because you want to see, wait a minute, what was that? And they're just kind of gone. So I think you're right. I think there's something that kind of comes in. I don't know if it's an angel. I don't know if it's a spirit or a watcher.
For my husband, it was
whatever.
a nurse in pink scrubs. So I mean, every time he would go in, if he would have a really nasty asthma attack, there had been like 2 or 3 different times when he would ask me, you know, who was the nurse in pink scrubs? There was a nurse in pink scrubs there telling me everything was going to be okay. I was going to be fine. You know, this was going to pass. You know, everything was going to be okay. And I sat there and I'm like, there was no nurse in pink scrubs. We were holding you down on the gurney so that you didn't fight the EMT to get the nebulizer, you know? So, I mean, he had to have known something. In my opinion, he had to have known something. Something had to have been telling him, hey, something's going to happen.
Yeah, that, like I said, when that happened, and then he passed away a week later, that was kind of like, wow. That's all I can say is wow. I don't know how they explain it.
Yeah.
He said it didn't scare him, whatever it was. He said it felt peaceful. He said it didn't feel anything negative or anything like that. And what I have is that when we wasn't allowed to be there at the hospital because he had COVID. He was recovering from COVID, but he had a massive heart attack, and they worked on him for over an hour. And it's hard. But I do think that you do get visited before you pass away. I honestly believe that. Like I said, when I worked in the hospital, patients would describe similar things to that. You know, like we go in the room and they're like, there's a lady standing in the corner, and of course we're like looking around trying to find this person. They're describing, nobody there. A few hours later, they would pass away. I honestly believe that they do get visited before they pass away. Matter of fact, I can't go into that detail because one of the stories is going to be on the haunted hospitals that happened to me at the hospital.
Yay!
All right. Well,
Can't wait to see that.
Let me do my job that I should be doing here rather than just jumping into conversations and just moderating this. Sorry, it's hard to not talk. That's kind of why I got into doing this. Good question for you ladies is, how do you see the role of women evolving in the paranormal? I mean, obviously you've all seen how that role has started to make its climb and make its importance. But how do you kind of see that evolving more in the future?
I see us being seen as equals. I see us being seen as able to do our own tech. You know, I've had that come up during a podcast. Somebody was like, wait, who does your tech? And I was like, bro, I do. So, just being able to be seen as equals and not just known, like Beth had said earlier, as being mediums or, psychics or all of that, that, hey, we're actual investigators, we're scientists. We are just as, I don't know if I can swear, so I won't say that word.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, you're fine.
We're just as badass.
Don't get permission, then I'll do it.
We are badass.
That we are just as badass, and that we can do everything just the same, if not better, because we have, that whole stuff we talked about earlier. Just the sensitivity, you know, and like the being able to bring life into the world and all of the things.
Well said.
I think it's also, again, going back to that respect level. I think the way that we present ourselves, I think everybody on this panel, I mean, we provide interesting content. We provide valid content. You know, we all are very, as Chinelle said, very scientific minded, and we're going at this with a very strong research background, a very strong research mindset. And as we put that out there and we can validate some of these things that we're experiencing, we're getting more respect. Like I said, I'm on podcasts 2 or 3 times a week, radio shows 2 or 3 times a week, because people, not just in the paranormal, the mainstream media want to know what we're doing. And I think we're doing a very good job of representing the paranormal community as a whole, not just the females, but the males as well. We're doing a great job of really expressing that in a way that's sensitive to the historical narrative of the location, as well as the spirits of that location as well.
Yeah, because you and Miranda are both doing a wonderful job with the jail.
Absolutely.
That's a big. I'm not saying that any other location owners or whatever they're doing are not great, but you guys are bringing a whole new element to it. And I mean, I'm proud to see you guys doing what you're doing, because it's very interesting. I finally, after asking 100 people for patches to put on your wall, one actually made it to me. So I mean, because you're covering the history, you're bringing the community together, you're bringing tourism in.
Yes.
You're educating kids. That was my favorite thing to see, by the way. You've got kids coming for field trips and stuff. That's amazing. And that's what's going to set us apart as well. Educating people. And we're good at it. That's what, I mean, not saying men aren't either, but we're good at it.
We are. And thank you for saying that, Beth. And I think, like I said, everybody on this panel, we're eloquent. We can speak to what we know, and we've done amazing things in the paranormal world, and people are seeing that now. So I think the community going forward, I think it's in great hands, especially with those that are here. Like I said, Leanne Eskew, Denise Pack, Sarah Jane, and Paranormally Blonde. These are women who are vocal. These are women who are strong. These are women who are going out and finding great paranormal evidence and validating that evidence and making it that much more valid in the field. So I think personally, I'm excited. I think the paranormal community as a whole is going in a great direction right now.
Yep, the sisters are doing good stuff. And I mean it when I say it. Those are my sisters. You are my sisters, and that's how it has to be. And I'm super proud.
And that's one of the perks that I had when I was traveling around, joining up with different teams when this whole premise of the show started, or when it was early on. There was so many young females that I met along my journey that you can tell are going to blossom into women like Beth and Chinelle and Cynthia, and they're right on that edge. Like, the intelligence is there, the drive is there, everything is there. It just has to have that moment happen that just they elevate. And there's so many of them out there, and so many teams. I mean, just my team alone, there's every single one of them women are just, I would trust them with my life any day, anywhere. So
yeah,
and we want to see more than the females out there. We want to see the young males coming to the table, because you know what? I don't just mentor the females. Most of the people I mentor are young males, and we're about everybody. We're not saying, hey, we want to run the world. I'm not Beyonce, okay? I'm Beth. All right, but you know, we want to see this. We want to see these young people. We're the linebackers for the next generation. We have to set a standard. Am I perfect? No, I make plenty of mistakes. I cuss like a sailor, but I get the point across. But we have a responsibility to these people to make a way for them and not feel like, oh, they're going to not like me because I'm paranormal, spiritual, blah, 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 blah. No, we are setting the standards. We're showing people how to be professional, sometimes unprofessional. how to be safe and make sure that the history means something.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. For me, I mean, I've just been quiet, just sort of basking in all this. I'm still relatively new in so many ways. I haven't been investigating all that long. I'm more of the historian and the researcher because I've actually thought this recently. I come out and do these investigations because I want to see what the history is underneath. And for me, my soapbox, um, everything that's happened over the last couple of years, getting everybody's voices out and getting everybody's voices to be heard. It shouldn't just stop with us, the living. It's got to be with what's gone on before. So, one advice from that I would have for anyone that's up and coming in the field, don't be afraid to get out there and know your history. Get out there, visit a place like the historic Scott County Jail or any of the historic sites that are around, because before you can understand a haunting, you need to understand the context of what might have happened in the past. So that's just my thing. And I got to shout out all the ladies that I love that I've worked with, and many more to come. And I can't wait to work with all of you at some point eventually. So
I got to go to Virginia now.
yeah, come to Virginia. I'll entertain everybody. I will I will hook you guys up with amazing stuff. And I get to see Miranda soon.
I'm jealous. Can I say that again?
St. Albans
April
Sanatorium.
23rd.
Yep. It's going to be a crazy, crazy weekend. And I think the future looks bright too. How are you guys feeling? Yeah. Brandon, how are you doing?
Basking. Just basking.
I've passed the whole show. Now it's your turn to bask. Oh my god.
Well, actually, I think we're actually coming close to the end of this.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can literally just let this go all night, but my bandwidth would be shot for like the rest of the season. So we probably shouldn't leave some people hungry for more of this, because there's no reason not to be.
Exactly.
So I think on the note that you guys ended that last topic on is the perfect way to let this go. So thank you all of you, for being on tonight. I think this was exactly something that was needed to be done, needed to be said, and needed to be shared. So everybody that shared it, everybody that was on it, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And also in remembrance of Dana and in remembrance of Roland and everybody that's come before us and everybody that's yet to come. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to the chat, because we love you guys so much. This has been such an active chat. It's just been amazing.
Just remember, Brandon, still got to go to Edinburgh.
Actually, funny story. I will be there.
Sorry to interrupt you, Ms. Whitney. It just popped in my mind. I forgot. Him and Dan were talking about going to Edinburgh.
Oh God, I need to get
You
out.
got that.
I need to get out to the Midwest.
I didn't forget.
If y'all get up here,
I will be there soon,
need to go
Tina.
to Edinburgh.
There's a lovely lady that's in the chat right now named Kat Armstrong, and her destiny, I think, is to make sure I go there. She's actually one of the tour guides at Edinburgh in our chat, as well as my team has it booked here June, I believe.
Is it really?
So I will get it. I will get in there. I promise.
I was gonna say I'll be there April 30th in May.
Nice.
You'll be there in May?
And April 30th, yep.
Really?
Yep.
That might be a little motivation there too.
You think?
Maybe just a pinch. All right. Well, ladies, like I said, thank you all for being on the show. And thanks to all of our guests tonight for tuning in on another amazing live episode.
This was great. So once again, we must share our stuff here. So all of you, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please remember to take a second to rate us 5 stars or leave us a review. I mean, it helps us to get the word out about the show. And we also want to hear your feedback to help make the show better.
Absolutely, Whitney. And if you're an
Yeah.
Android listener, you can follow us on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, or Google Podcasts. Or our favorite thing, just go to Alexa and say, Alexa, play that Para-Unity podcast.
And I still am, my mind is boggled that we're on Alexa. I still can't believe it.
So that way you never miss an episode. Remember, if you like the show, tell a friend. If you want to be a guest on the show, or if you just want more of this Para-Unity, please join us on our Facebook or Instagram. And the other thing now, if you want to help support our show, go to our website, buy us a coffee.
I love coffee.
One thing I do want to mention before we finish this off with is we will have everybody's links
Yes.
for their teams or their shows or whatever else you want to have on the show notes to connect to you. I will have you all send them to me and Whitney, and we will get them into the episode notes so
For
people can
everyone.
find you.
Because we're
Okay.
all here. We're all here for each other, right, guys?
Amen.
Absolutely.
that.
Yes, ma'am.
Alrighty, well, my name is Brandon.
And I'm Whitney, and you have been listening to the best place to bring our paranormal teams a little closer together, the Para-Unity Podcast. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Nice.
Good night, guys.
Good night.